It is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. We are back with our first show since Thanksgiving. Hope you had a good turkey day and enjoyed with the entire family.
I did. I had a great time. We had my brother up, just kind of immediate family. Great dinner. Had some vino. It was an excellent day. Yeah. How was yours?
Very nice. Yeah, Brady was here. That was awesome. The grandparents were here. That was very nice. Aunts, uncles, whole bit. Very good. Had a great time. Loved it. Loved being together.
Did you eat some pie?
Dude, there wasn't, I ate like I was going to the electric chair. It was just horrible. I could not believe it. I was, I just didn't stop.
I can
And then
believe
the
it.
leftovers the next day, I crushed that too.
Me too.
I'm the biggest
You know
leftover.
what? I've grown into such a ham fan now. Like I don't eat ham like ever, but on Thanksgiving, for some reason, the ham is just hitting right, man. I think ham and mashed potatoes might be better than turkey and mashed potatoes.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And then I cut it up and put it in my eggs the next day with some jalapenos and some
Wow.
avocado. Oh,
All right, that's it. We got to get this show going or else I'm going to eat the microphone. Tip of the cap. We haven't had a lot of those in the offseason. Brandon Crawford called it a career, 14 seasons, 13 of which were spent by the Bay. Helped the Giants win 2 World Series, 4-time Gold Glover. Had 1 top 5 MVP finish, I believe. Just a really solid baseball player that you could depend on.
He's like your favorite ball player's favorite ball player type of guy. Guys really respected him around the league. You know, the glove work was awesome. The attitude, the demeanor was there. I loved watching him play. He was so smooth, so fundamentally sound, positioned himself well before positioning was a thing that the front office did. Like he was the complete package in the middle of the field, man. He's one hell of a ball player. So yes, big tip of the cap for me.
Yeah, very good baseball player, and on top of that, groomed himself exceptionally well. Always felt like the hair length was great. It was never too
Always
much.
wet.
But it always stood out. And then the beard length, for some reason, he always had like the perfect beard. It never looked like too mangy. And
It was a very full beard. So when you like shaved it down to the stubble, it still had its
good texture,
girth to it.
Yeah, that's nice. Can we talk some baseball?
Yes, please.
Because we had a couple of veteran pitchers sign free agent deals. They're just reports at this point that we're doing the show. But let's start up in Queens, where the Mets have inked right-hander Frankie Montas to a 2-year, $34 million deal. I believe there's an opt-out after season 1. They have a plenty of vacancies in that starting rotation. Minaya, Severino, Quintana, all free agents. You got to imagine they're all not coming back, of course. So they have gone the Frankie Montas route. Did 2 years and $34 million surprise you?
No, not at all, to be honest with you. This is kind of the going rate for pitchers nowadays, especially guys that are that's the going rate for like back of the rotation pitchers. The guys in the front are going to get paid a lot more than that. So the 2 years and I think it's a player option for the second year. I think when you have deals like this, it's a team saying, look, we believe this guy can provide some value to us. It's a very low risk type of contract. And I think what the Mets are thinking, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, actually. I think what the Mets are saying is, look, yeah, we need pitchers. They lost all those 3 guys you're talking about. But this is a guy we think still has some upside that we can tweak, because all those 3 guys that you mentioned last year coming into the season, were we like stoked on the signings or we're like, oh, this is going to be a game changer? No, like none of them. We were curious about Severino. Minaya, we're like, yeah, he's kind of like, he is what he is. And Quintana, he is what he is. But all 3 of those guys had huge impacts on the Mets. And whether that was because Minaya made his, mechanics change, or Severino was actually just healthy, whatever it was, like they thrive there. So I think they're looking and saying, well, look, maybe we have this program now where we can bring in guys like a Montas, tweak a few things. The Brewers did that at the end of last year with him and, saw a slight improvement, but it's rotational depth with low risk, and there is still plenty of upside with Montas. So this was, I think, a great signing for the Mets.
Yeah, it's a little risky from this standpoint. Last year, he threw 150 plus innings. That was the second most in his career. So he hasn't been the he hasn't been healthy throughout his career. Let's just
Mhm.
say that. Now, he did make 30 starts last year, and his numbers were better after the trade from Cincinnati to Milwaukee. His strikeout rate went up. I don't know if that means that he discovered something or it's just good biorhythms up there in the upper Midwest. I don't know what it was. But I was shocked when I first saw the $34 million number. And then I started going back to what my friend Trevor Plouffe likes to say. There are no bad one-year deals, and I'm curious if that we have to extend that now to 2-year deals for veteran starting pitchers. Is there is that the way we have to adjust our thinking now?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years is, again, not a lot of financial commitment. There is, like I said, the opt-out too, and I just to go get a guy that you maybe want, yeah, adding that extra year is obviously very, incentive based. And I had this thought process. I didn't know if you were going to go there or not. I was, gave you a chance there.
Hmm.
Is it a Boris thing? Did
Mm.
Boris say, I got this other guy you want? You need to step up and not only give him 1 year, but give him that option for the second year as well. Like, I think there is some sort of leverage play there.
Wow, that's some dirty shit, though.
I don't
It
think it's
is.
dirty. Why is that dirty?
I don't know. So you have to take a C-lister in order to get your A-lister in the door.
Dude, that happens in all facets of life. I don't like cars or watches or anything like that, but if you wanna buy this, like, awesome Rolex, you can't. You gotta, like, buy the basic Rolex first. You wanna get, like, these, crazy Ferraris or Lamborghinis, you can't. You gotta buy the other ones first, and then you're, like, in the system and all like, that is the way the world works, man, when you're talking about luxury items. Like, I actually don't I think this is every single side will use leverage whenever they can. This is Scott Boras using his leverage. I mean, I'm
So
just saying,
this is
if that was
interesting.
the case. I'm not
It's
saying this
interesting.
happened,
So
people.
let's play this out. Scott Boras says, "You know what? You take care of this client. I'm just telling you, Juan Soto really likes you guys." Yeah, I mean, that is just well, and then what
And
happens if Juan Soto signs elsewhere?
you gotta
Then
take
what
the
do you do?
chance, Chris.
Oh my gosh.
Chance of the high school dance. Come on, man.
I didn't even think of that. That's fascinating. Last thing here, I do think that big picture, the Mets are looking at this exactly the way they looked at the Sean Manaea signing. That innings eater, like last year, I went back and looked at the free agent pitchers who signed, and I came up with a couple of what I would call innings eaters. Manaea was one of them. He signed 2 for 28. Kenta Maeda was another one, 2 for 24, and he didn't end up eating any innings in
No.
Detroit. But I felt like he was signed for that purpose, to be a veteran presence in that line, in that rotation, and kind of help them out.
Quintana was one.
Yeah, I would say that too. What was he, 2 for 25 or so? Somewhere around there. So the going rate for an innings eater has now jumped a little bit from year to year. Good for those guys. We'll get to another innings eater momentarily, but first, you can eat, you can drink, you can be merry because we have reached the playoff edition of Blitzball Battle 5, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday on our Warehouse Games channel. It is the best. Here's a taste of what is coming your way. The playoffs continue on. Blitzball Battle 5. It's the 3-6 matchup between the defending champion, McFlurry Power, and We Got Ice. Not only is McFlurry Power in line to successfully defend their Blitzball crown, they are still in line to win the inaugural Warehouse Cup. On the other side of things, We Got Ice. Don't get that skunk on your jersey.
Right, there's been so many issues with Jack. What are we going to get from Jack Doyle today?
And I think with the defending champs, I feel like they're in a pretty good place.
Always going to be able to pitch. Will they swing the bats?
I'm going to go ahead and take Team McFlurry Power. The fact that they still have a chance at the Cup, we know how competitive they get.
I don't think I've picked one right for the whole tournament. So I'm going to pick McFlurry Power because I'm wrong most of the time.
We will see you later today for Game 11. It's postseason time. Blitzball Battle 5. All right, so that'll actually be Tuesday night. So make sure you check it out, 7:30 p.m. Eastern in the chat. It's always fun. You like being in the chats and during your games, don't you?
I do. I just think that's part of the experience when you're a consumer of the warehouse games is like you're gonna get to chat with the guys that are actually in the game,
Yeah.
and you can make fun of them, you can cheer from whatever it is, man. It's all fair game.
It's a blast. It is a blast. All right. Reason I'm wearing a Cubs hat is because I woke up Monday morning and saw that they have signed left-handed starter Matthew Boyd, 2-year, $29 million deal with incentives could reach $30 million. This is a guy who pitched very well in limited time with my Cleveland Guardians a season ago. In fact, come playoff time, 3 starts and ERA under 1. You surprised he got this big a number?
I think the success last year had something to do with it. Again, I think he's a guy that, the Cubs aren't necessarily looking for him to slot in and be a top of the rotation guy, obviously. So he provides depth. They actually have a lot of rotational depth there. Like, I'm curious to see if they're going to go and try to, take a big swing at one of these big free agent pitchers. I don't know if that's like their most pressing need right now. I think the bullpen and probably a bat is, but I said this on Talking Baseball. I want the Cubs to take that next step, because when I looked at their lineup, I was like, dang, like I kind of like the lineup, but it feels like it's just missing a little something there. So I'm kind of expecting them to be big in free agency this offseason, but I've kind of heard some rumblings from Cubs fans that they maybe don't expect that to be happening. But for Boyd specifically, I think that he's a guy they look at as depth, and a guy that can do kind of both roles. If they need him to start, he'll start. If they need him to go in the bullpen, he's done that before. He can do that. You watched him, all year long, not all year long, towards the end of the season and then into the playoffs. Like, there was some, like, the strikeout numbers were up. Like, he seems like he found something, and because of that, he's rewarded with this type of contract. But again, I think this is a depth move. And does he have the same type of upside as Montas? I wrestle with that. Like, the numbers will say yes. But I think more than anything, it's kind of like an insurance policy. A guy that's been there, done that, can take the ball when you need him to take the ball. And again, he's pretty good against lefties. So if he finds his way into the bullpen, like, that's a place that the Cubs need some help.
No, I don't think he's going to the bullpen.
I think he could, Chris.
I don't think so. I think that he is a back-end starter of what I would call
until one of those young guys just goes and runs away with that job, and they say, hey, like, we can use you as a swing guy, we can use you as a multi-inning reliever. I think you can do both.
Yeah, when you're talking about the young guys, Ben Brown, who was interesting till he got injured, Assad, very interesting. So they've got some guys back there that they're going to battle.
You think he's going to be the number 5 starter no matter what now?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think that, and it's interesting because they're going to have 3 southpaws in their rotation now.
That was my thought process. Like, I don't know if maybe to start the season, yes, but I don't know if it's going to play out that way, Chris.
They signed Matthew Boyd to be a starting pitcher. They're giving him $14.5 million a year to be a starting pitcher behind Soto and Justin Steele.
To be a pitcher. That's what I think. I'm changing my ways I view pitching now, man. I think they signed him to be a pitcher.
So a bulk guy.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I mean,
no, he can. I'm not saying he's not going to start games for the Cubs. I think he's going to start games for the Cubs. I'm just saying, like, that doesn't have to be his end-all be-all role.
I think that he's a 5-inning guy. I think that's what they signed him for, and I have no problem with it. I think now I want to see the Cubs take the next step as well. People are very hesitant on the north side to say, yeah, our ownership is going to delve out a ton of money. Yes, and you look at the lineup and you say, not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah, but it wasn't productive.
It wasn't.
Half of the year, it was MIA, and it cost them. They finished 10 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. You heard Craig Counsell at the end of the year. He goes, there's a substantial gap. A substantial gap is what he said between the two teams. And you look at the Brewers, you're like, substantial gap? Like, how could they be laps ahead of somebody else? I think that the Cubs have to be serious contenders. And if it's not for a big-time bat in the free agent market, they have pieces to trade.
Yes.
Their farm system is incredible, and it includes a bunch of guys that are there and ready to play Major League Baseball. They aren't guys that are 19 years old, and I'll see you in 2.5 seasons. They are guys who are Major League ready. So if you want to help the back end of your bullpen, if you want to help get more stability and consistency in your lineup, then the Cubs don't have to spend $250 million on a free agent. Heck, they might not even have to spend $95 million on a free agent if you don't love the guy. But if you want to go hone in on somebody who could shake loose from one of these teams, and they don't want to pay a guy $12 million this year to be in their offense, the Cubs should go get him.
I agree. They have right now on Fangraphs, they list 6 guys in the top 100 as far as prospects. That doesn't count PCA, who just graduated, who's a young guy who's cost controlled for 6 years. How about their lineup? 10th in on-base percentage, 13th in OPS, 12th in runs. That screams to me one legitimate bat away from being a top 10 offense. And go fix the bullpen, and then let's go.
Yeah, 10 games sounds like a lot, but I think that they could make up that distance pretty quickly if they make the right moves. Just a thought. All right, you notice how the days are shorter, but your to-do lists are not. I want you to power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Factor lets you do you. You can choose from 6 menu preferences to help manage your calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Because Factor's meals, they are chef prepared, they are dietitian approved. You're going to love not only how Factor meals taste, but how they support your goals. And check this out. Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining. I'm going to repeat that for all you in the back. Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining. Put the money you save toward holiday shopping or reaching your financial goals. So head on over to factormeals.com/50 today. Use that code 50 today. You're going to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That is the code 50 today, factormeals.com/50 today for half off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active. It is a great way to go this holiday season because I know you are very, very busy. All right. We keep hearing these reports that Juan Soto could be signed before the winter meetings start next week in Texas. We don't know that. We keep hearing and reading a ton of rumors, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to add to it. Randy Miller of NewJersey.com. He was on WFAN late last week. You can take it for what it's worth, but he had this to say about the Soto sweepstakes.
I don't know that Soto will go there, but I think it's going to come down to the Red Sox. And Mets, from what I'm hearing, Big Papi is playing a role in this and recruiting Soto hard. I hear the Red Sox are telling Soto that they're going to bring in a couple extra players in addition to him. That's the same thing that the Giants told Judge and did not live up to it. The Red Sox have a very good farm system. They're positioned here, if they get Soto and a couple other guys, to have a window to win here. I think the Yankees are going to finish 4th. That's my guess.
Wow, a lot to unpack there. Do you think that the Red Sox are a viable contender?
I do 100%, but not because Randy Miller. I don't know Randy Miller, but not because of what he said. What he said is what every team is doing. You don't think every team has somebody, whether it's an alumni or a player on the team, saying, yeah, like Juan Soto, come on, this is a great organization. Every team is saying, we're going to build around you. We're going to add players. That means nothing to me. That means nothing to me. This is Juan Soto's decision. Now, I think you can sell him on certain aspects of the Red Sox organization that are unique, Chris. I told Jake this. Why not be like the opposite curse? The curse of the great Bambino hurt the Red Sox for years and years and years. Why not be that face that hurts the Yankees for years and years and years? You could sell like a story like that. Like, come be the guy that shuts the Yankees out for the foreseeable future. Like, come bring that to the Red Sox. Like, there are things that you can sell. I mean, I know that's Yankee fans are going to be pissed at me, whatever it is. But I think I said this all along. I think the Red Sox are going to be like probably, I would say, the biggest players in free agency this year. I know that Steve Cohen's sitting there with a fat wallet and he may have other ideas about that, but they are poised more than anybody because of, yes, they have prospects. They have young talent, major league ready talent. They have a payroll that can increase. Like, they're a very scary team to me. If you're not a Red Sox fan, watch out, because I think they can add a Juan Soto and like one or two other like big name like starting pitchers. Like they can really afford to go all in. So do I think they're serious contenders? Of course. And are they leading the way? I don't know. Like nobody freaking knows. The only person that knows is Juan Soto. Not even Scott Boras probably knows where exactly Juan is thinking he wants to go. But I would be nervous if I was a Yankees fan because there's legitimate contenders out there that can sell him a story just as much as you can. The Yankees don't have, a monopoly on come play for us. It's the best place to play in the world. We're going to give you all this. They don't have that. So I'm the more and more I think about it, the more and more I kind of like Soto to the Red Sox. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I like that storyline.
Okay. So my team is obviously not involved in the Juan Soto
No.
sweepstakes.
Mine either.
If it was, though, if I was a Red Sox, Yankee, Mets, Blue Jays, Dodgers fan, anybody else that might be meeting with him in the near future that we don't know about, I would not listen to a guy like Randy Miller necessarily. He doesn't have the greatest reputation among Yankee fans. He was the one who thought that Aaron Judge was going to San Francisco. It didn't work out. And everybody, whether they're credible or not, it's up to for you as a fan to believe whomever you want to believe. Okay. You might have a favorite insider that you follow that you really feel like, okay, if he says something, then I'm really going to kind of get excited or not excited if the news is going to go opposite of my team's way. With all that being said, here's what I think is important to Juan Soto. I think the most money is what's most important. I don't know that for a fact, but when you read where we've been on this journey, turning down $440 million as a guy who's probably 24 at the time, then being shipped to San Diego, and then being shipped to New York. And it's possible he's going to be on his fourth team by 26 years old. I don't think he cares about the story that's being sold to him. He's already won a World Series, dude. He is going to put himself into Cooperstown. Doesn't matter who is around him. He could play on the shittiest team in this sport. He's going to end up in Cooperstown. And we're not going to look any differently at him. And I'm not going to begrudge him for going to chase the most money. And that's fine. So I don't think we have to sit here trying to figure out some story that's being sold to Juan Soto, because at the end of the day, he might just look at the piece of paper and say, yeah, that's not good enough. I appreciate Poppy calling me. I appreciate you guys saying you might go get Max Fried and might go get Alex Bregman, but it's not good enough.
Agreed. I do think that money and the length of the contract and all that stuff is probably the most important thing, but you don't want to spend 14 years in an organization that's inept. I don't think that he's going to. I think the guys that are after him are obviously, these are, I don't know how to say it. They're not upper tier organizations, but they have the resources, or at least they spend and try to put a decent team on the field for the most part. So I think he's not going to end up like a Chris Bryant in Colorado out in this, just
right.
No one's going to think of him ever again. I don't know. I think there is, like, if all these offers are going to be around the same, and I'm saying within $20 million, even $30 million of each other, I don't think at that point, if they're at his number, he's like, yeah, that's good. I don't think that he just takes the highest number. I think then it's like, okay, where do I see myself? Where do I want to play my games? Like that, you have to take that into account. It's not just about dollar amount at that point.
Okay. How old are you?
38.
Do you remember what you were like at 26?
Stud.
Do you remember, were you really thinking about, well, I wonder where I'm going to be?
I wasn't in a
happy.
position to sign a 14-year deal, dude.
I get it, dude, but he's not. I don't think
that's Chris, that's what why you have an agent. That's why you have people around you that are to help you make these decisions. It's not going to be all Juan Soto making this decision. He's going to have his inner circle saying, listen, you have to think about these things. Yeah, he is 26. You might not be thinking about all this, but you have to think about it.
Yes, you do. And it's not the Marlins and the Rays and all these teams that are aren't going to financially back him with great teammates that are in this race. So at the end of the day, he's going to go to one of 5 places that still pay out pretty good. Now, Boston's recent track record has not been great. Really hasn't been. Like, why are they doing this now as opposed to recent years? I don't quite understand it. Maybe
What do you mean? Why? I think there was a lot of teams that look forward to what free agent class there is, and hey, like might back off these 2 years because we're waiting for this guy. Maybe this was the guy they're waiting for.
Or maybe they learned their lesson when they traded Mookie Betts.
Yeah, maybe.
That's possible too.
They gotta stop trading guys like that, dude.
Last bit of this. As a baseball fan who doesn't have a dog in the fight on this negotiation, do you like it that it might continue to drag out, or do you want to see it wrap up soon?
I'd rather it wrap up soon, I think. Yeah.
I think so
because
too,
I think
it's a log jam. I think he's creating a log jam right now.
But the funnest part of the offseason for me is when we do have the signings and then we start to think about the year ahead. We can't really think about the year ahead until these guys sign because we don't know what the rosters are going to look like. But I think once he signs and we're like, okay, whoever gets them, this is what they're projected to be. That's what I like.
Okay. All right, we move from the prize of the free agent class to a guy who just got an extension, Tommy Edman. His 3-month stay in Los Angeles has been very fruitful. An NLCS MVP, a World Series championship, and now a 5-year, $74 million extension.
I knew that I wanted to be here for a long time once I got traded here. You know, it's just the ideal situation for myself and my family. So I was really excited when I found out that they were interested in an extension as well, and I'm glad we got it done relatively early in the offseason.
By the way, for those of you that are audio only, that was him while signing cards at a shop in the Valley, I believe. So it's kind of interesting. Great pickup for the Dodgers. $74 million. I went, okay. I think what they're expecting him to be is what they expected Chris Taylor to be when they gave him. He ended up being a free agent, and they ended up keeping him for $70+ million, and it hasn't been great.
Chris Taylor got $70 million?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
No way.
I'm almost positive. Was it? Am I off a little bit on that?
I'm looking it up right now.
4 years, 60. My bad. Sorry, I was off by 10 million.
What?
Yeah. But I think that at least the idea is the same. Chris Taylor was a guy, versatility, positional versatility. Maybe he has a little more pop than Edman, a little less speed, and isn't as good a defender at multiple spots. But I think that's what they were looking at.
Jeez. So that's 15 a year for I'm sorry. In my mind I didn't have that for CT. What's his career earnings are 60, okay, or a little bit above.
Yeah.
Wait. 73 will be his
career.
Whatever. Okay. Oh my goodness. Tommy Edman. What was the question again? You got me sidetracked.
I don't know. It's not so much a question. It's just $74 million for a guy like Tommy Edman. I think it's nice that the Dodgers can do this.
Okay, I think it's nice that they can do this, but I also think he's a really good player. And
yeah, I do too.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think Chris Taylor ever played center field.
He has. He absolutely did.
A lot?
He played all over the place. He would play left,
all over the
center,
place, but
he played second, he'd play short during those, during the World Series run in 20.
I have Tommy Edman as a better defender than Chris Taylor in my head. So to me, this is I'm not going to say it's a steal, but it makes sense dollar-wise for me to sign a guy like Tommy Edman, especially the Dodgers are such an interesting team. They really don't have an infield set. They have guys that can kind of play the infield. Like Mookie is going to play second base, I believe, this year. That's what they keep saying, which is interesting to me. So I'm assuming Edman's going to start in center field, and then Miggy Rowe, Gavin Lux, we'll see what happens at shortstop. And then, but the ability to be able to play up the middle and actually do it well and hit at a league average rate, I mean, you're a hell of a ball player if you can do that. So that's where the value comes in for the Dodgers. And he fits in the clubhouse. They like the versatility. Like you mentioned, they've always tried to have guys, whether it's Chris Taylor, whether it is like a guy like Kike, like they want to have guys that are versatile because they understand that injuries happen. I think the Dodgers have done that better than anybody, is just saying, okay, yeah, we want to keep everybody healthy. It ain't going to happen. So we have to have guys to fill in at these positions, and not just like Joe Schmoes or guys that we're bringing up, that are at the quad A level. Like we want to have legitimate players that can move into these spots when inevitably somebody goes down with an injury. So I think that's where Tommy Edman really becomes valuable, is, hey, he can literally play anywhere and play it well.
Okay. The other side of this is the financial deal. It's a $17 million signing bonus. It's $25 million in deferrals over the next decade as well. And I want to get this out there. The Dodgers just do this better than anybody else. Everybody can do deferrals if you want to. It is, people say it's a loophole, all that sort of stuff. It has been agreed upon between the owners and the players. So let's stop making this a Dodger issue. They are just doing it better. Now, the question that I think is fair to ask is, does it make your stomach turn a little bit? Because it feels like teams are trying to circumvent the CBT. And does it feel dirty?
No.
Okay.
No. Not at all to me. You said it's completely legal. Everyone can do it. There's examples littered throughout the league. It's the fact that the Dodgers, and again, I talked about this a little bit on Talking Baseball. It's the fact that Shohei deferred almost 100% of his contract. That's why they're able to do this. And the fact that people want to play there. It's a desirable place to go. They want to win championships. The Colorado Rockies can't say, hey, come to our place, we're going to defer money. Nobody will do it. Like, you want your money up front. But because the Dodgers have this thing, the LA market, the winning team, the organization is talked about as one of the best in baseball. They have all these things that it allows them to say, hey, let's defer the money. And guys will say, yeah, that's fine. There's a funny, I don't know. I don't know if I want to bring this up because it's kind of like faux pas maybe. There's a funny Tom Brady SNL skit when he kind of like hits on somebody at work and they like love it. And then the other guy hits on the same girl and she's like, that's disgusting. That's what the Tom Brady, the Dodgers are Tom Brady in that scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's okay. I didn't see that, but that's funny. Because I was that other guy. Truth hurts, Rose. Truth hurts.
Hey, by the way, Chris Taylor played a lot of center field. For some reason, I just, in my mind, I'm like, I imagine him in the infield and I imagine him at like third base and shortstop, but not center field, but he played a lot.
Yeah. I'm happy we could open your eyes to something on this show. That's it. All right. But I have to admit, it does feel a little dirty. And it's not, once again, this has nothing to do with the Dodgers and everything to do with pushing money down the road that I guess it goes back to the Shohei deal, where 68 of his 70 million a year is deferred. And it doesn't all count against the CBT. It just feels
But other teams
strange.
could offer him that too.
I know.
It does count towards the CBT. It's present day value.
I
of
know,
the
but
money.
it doesn't fully count against it.
Well, they wouldn't have given him that fully, though. He got more money because he was deferring it.
Yeah.
That's what people have to realize. It's like I don't think any team was going to give Shohei $700 million up front. Like, that's not what they were going to do. Like, they're giving him this because it doesn't kick in till when? 2038 or something like that?
Insane, whatever it is.
So it's present day value. It's $45 million a year.
Yeah.
So don't think of it as, hey, they got away with giving him 700. No, that's not what it is.
I know. There's a big difference
Any
between
team could do
45
this.
and 70.
You don't think, listen, Juan Soto is going to defer money. 100%.
I think
like
so
it's becoming a trend. He's going to get $600 million because it's going to be deferred. He's not going to get $60 million a year straight up paid out to him because teams don't think he's worth that right now, but he will get $600 million because they're going to defer it. Present day value is going to be right around $45 million.
I got you. All right. Today's episode, it is sponsored by BetterHelp. Holiday season. It's all about feeling good, staying cozy at home. For some, wrapping up in a blanket with a mug of hot chocolate or watching a movie with family, that's the best way to spend the month of December. If you're looking for comfort, even when the season changes, therapy can be a great way to bring comfort that simply never goes away. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. All you have to do, it's pretty simple. You fill out a very brief questionnaire. You'll get matched up with a licensed therapist. Here's the nice thing. Chemistry is big when it comes to patient and therapist. If there isn't that connection, you switch therapist anytime, no additional cost. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/baseball today. You're going to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. And we'd like to wish you a happy holiday season. All right, we continue on. Mr. Beast is back at it, dipping his toe into the sports world, lining up stud after stud, and he brought in two-time NL MVP Bryce Harper into the fold. A 1-versus-1 home run derby against Big Justice. Let's see how it played out.
Come on, baby.
The move!
Free that move, baby.
Best moment of my life.
You have 2 swings left. You hit one of these 2 over, you win. Come on, you got this.
Come on, baby. One more. Let's go right here. End it right here, baby.
Keep going. That's the home run, baby. Let's go.
Dude, the bat flip at the end got me, and the running around the bases.
It's a pretty legit swing right
It
there.
is good. It's a good swing.
I know who this kid is. He's like all over social media. I didn't know he had it like that on the ball field. Okay, respect. What happened to Bryce Harper? Where were his highlights? He hit 4 homers?
Yeah, he I think we need a little bit of a backstory. He hit 1 or 2 off the wall, but he also hit a couple of worm burners.
It's off-season mode, dude. The swing's not dialed in just perfect right now.
Yeah, I get it. But
That's pretty cool.
It was great. Played out really well. Did one with Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So I think he did something with Brady. Like Mr. Beast, I think he's going to be okay in this business.
Not announcer Brady, football player Brady.
Yes. It's funny. Quick question.
Yes.
Let's just do this for a minute here.
Okay.
Scott Lauber, the Philadelphia Inquirer, wonders whether or not Bryce Harper should be moved back to the outfield because after Juan Soto, it falls off a little bit in the outfield, and there's a couple of guys that can really play first base that are available via free agency.
Yeah, if it makes sense like that. If they go out and sign whoever, Christian Walker, I don't know if Pete Alonso's on their radar, maybe. Then I think Bryce would be open to it. I mean, it's taken him, some time to get used to first base, and that's, difficult. But knowing the kind of guy that Bryce is, he just wants to win. He'll do whatever is best for the team. So if they find themselves in that position where they say, hey, I'm sure they'll call him. Hey, Bryce, we got a chance to sign this guy. He's ready to go. What do you think? No question in my mind, Bryce would say, okay, I'll move back out there.
Yes, he would. I'm not doing it. And Dave Dombrowski doesn't sound like, hey, that's interesting. I think he's more like, boy, that might be like the last resort.
Just for health reasons for Bryce, is that what you're saying?
Would never, ever think about it anymore. It's the outfield's done, in my opinion. He became a Gold Glove finalist at first.
Yeah.
So he's far from a liability. He's a benefit over there. I want him in the lineup 150 games, and first base is the easiest place to do
if it's only for a couple of years, like they say, sign Christian Walker on a 2-year deal. I don't know if it's that far fetched.
I still don't like it. He's 32. He's had a bit of a bad back.
Yeah, I know. I look, I want to see Bryce Harper in the lineup every day too.
Yeah, so to me, it's a no. It's a no, dog. It's a no.
I'd give it a thought.
All right, we are back at it again later this week, scheduled for Friday liftoff. But if something monumental happens in between now and then, we are your source for free agency news and teams spending out of their gourd. We are in favor of it. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you later this week on Baseball Today.